Alright, so today we got news on the seasonal PvP world servers. Now, I'm not going to go too much into, the details in this post other than the, sort of general idea of what they're trying to say, basically. And it's effectively, as we know, it's an always PvP flag server where there's certain gear that will drop on death. And what we know so far is that you will be able to get exclusive rewards that you can only get on the server. And at the end of the PvP server season, you'll be able to bring that character to a standard world. And all the exclusive gear, which you can only get on that server, will be converted to a normal Eternum gear, effectively. But there's sort of a larger problem with this. But before we get into that, I just want to quickly go over some of the main points here. So that gear I was talking about, that sort of gear that you can lose on death, effectively, is one of the main points of the PvP server to add a bit of high risk, high reward, which makes sense, I guess. And in theory, it all sounds great, right? So you've got the Ethereal and Conquerors. Ethereal, I think, is more of a baseline, while Conquerors is more of the special crafted gear with all these wacky perks, and we can actually see some examples of that later they've given us. I hope the Musket is good, but effectively there'll be a bunch of ways to get this Ethereal material. It's called Ethereal Dust. And what I'm assuming they've kind of taken inspiration from is, if you've been following Ashes of Creation, there's a system called Glint, which is like a resource you farm out just doing anything, basically, like killing mobs or mob farming in the open world. And you take that Glint and you convert it into resources, or I think gold, silver, and like coins, right? In New World, they've kind of taken the same approach. You take the Ethereal Dust and you can craft gear with that Ethereal Dust and such, or you can even, get player experience. So I kind of see that they maybe even got inspired by Ashes of Creation's alpha to an extent. I don't know how true that is, but it's definitely very interesting, to say the least. And it's going to add an entirely new meta. As I've said, some of this gear has entirely unique perks. And it's all about crafting. So you're not going out to farm named items or artifacts. You're going out to farm this ethereal gear. Turn that ethereal gear into ethereal dust if it's not on PC1, and make new gear with that ethereal dust. Is at least the way it's conveyed to me. They've also jacked up the progression rates, so player XP, mastery, trade skill, all increased by 25%, as well as other ways to significantly boost your progression, which is nice. And you also get mount skill instantly at level 15, which is also good. Same with Heart Rune at 65. As these would be key points where players would probably camp. And rewards and progression, as we've said, we're getting exclusive rewards, basically, that will, signify that, there's a reason to be on these worlds. If they're good, though, we don't know. We haven't not seen a single image of these rewards, so they could be entirely mid. And what will be the point of joining the PvP server then? I don't know. They need to be really good rewards to actually have people join the servers and participate for an extended period of time. The most we know is that we're getting a PvP-focused trophy, which is going to give you increased PvP track XP, which will be able to brought forward to the normal servers at the close of the season. But the thing with that trophy is it will be available for all players in the following season. So you ask yourself, what's the point then? And there's some examples of these really unique-ish weapons they have is Yedison's hammer, 400% push distance, has a projectile. Really interesting, really fun stuff, actually. These could make great artifacts on the main game. Just gonna point that out. You've got a Great Axe that does ranged heavy attacks that cost mana, which actually sounds pretty fun. And again, these will make great artifacts, but these are going to be some of the Conquerors sort of crafted drop on death gear that you can make on that PvP servers. And again, it's all about PvP, force PvP, etc. Progression is fast-paced, that's the general census, right? And as said, you'll be able to get, rewards, and there's also rewards exclusive to people that own the premium pass, which is their way of monetizing it, which I don't know how I feel about that. I feel like there's a lot of people that don't buy the season passes, and, it's not they're going to incentivize people to buy it, it's just they're going to incentivize people to not play the PvP servers at all that don't own the season pass, so yeah, that's interesting. And yeah, so here, all Conqueror's gear will be converted to 715 gear score max. and Ethereal will be 705 gear score max with PvP perks apparently. You know, it's not going to be that your best in slot character on your standard worlds. It's just going to be an ult, basically. And that's pretty much everything I could gather from this. But the main point, rather than reading through this post in details, I want to give you guys, you know, you probably want to read that for yourself. It'll probably be better than me breaking it down. Is the main reason I made this video is the main point of this video. We do not have enough players to accommodate a seasonal world like this. You can look at the Steam charts and even New World Database. Now, New World Database is estimations of a player base, but at least gives us a rough idea of how things are looking, and we could add maybe 20% on, 30% onto this number to accommodate for console players as well, right? As that's roughly what it is, right? I would say there's only around 30% more, you know, player base on console of what we see on PC. We peak at, I think, 11 or 12k on Steam. I would say maybe 15k if we include the console players. That's about right, in my opinion. So, you know, numbers are not looking great, and you expect to have a whole slew of new servers to accommodate a whole new, like, gameplay system. So you're going to have people that are playing on the standard servers. Probably a lot of PvEers will stick around on that. Then you're going to have a lot of the PvPers go around to the try out the seasonal servers. Then you're going to have people that want to play Outpost Rush. How is that going to work in regions where I am based, Southeast Asia, which is the Australian server and Pisces? We only get one game of Outpost Rush a night. We probably will not get to play Outpost Rush anymore. This is a thing which really sucks, and is my biggest downside to this whole system, is that we just don't have the players to make the system work. Truthfully, that's the best way to explain it. If we had the player base, if this seasonal PvP world was done at the start of a tournament when we had all of the players to accommodate for it, it could have actually made sense. You know, we were peaking at 61k on Steam. You know, easily could have been around 100k peak with console combined. But the problem is, like, we're way past that now. We're, like, at literally a 10th of that player base. And, yeah, I just don't know. I don't think this is going to work long term. I think these worlds will be enjoyable for maybe a week or two based on the reception. And the biggest concern that actually is another point of this is none of this has been tested. We've had no testing, no PTR, none of that. And we're jumping into all these new exclusive weapons and artifacts. Well, not artifacts, Conqueror's gear, which is effectively the PvP server's version of artifacts with unique perks that haven't been tested. Will they all work? We know notoriously that 1 in 4, at least 1 in 3 artifacts have either been broken or outright don't work or have become an exploit. How many exploits and bugs and broken shit are gonna be on these PvP servers? We don't know. We really don't know. And there's a high chance, based on prior history of this game, that it's going to be an absolute shit show in terms of bugs. Now, part of me is excited that, you know, meta for PvP is going to be very wacky for a couple weeks. And I think that's going to be a lot of fun. I think the overall PvP could be fun for a week as well. You know, all the people grouping together, doing, like, the questing and shit, gathering their ethereal dust, crafting their ethereal gear. That sounds like a whole lot of fun if we had the player base. And especially in my region, where we probably peak around 600 players a day, 700 players a day, we're probably going to see like 400 players in total on the PvP server. It could even be less than that, and we won't know the exact numbers because AGS won't want to give them to us because they're so stingy. And in my opinion, a PvP server really relies on knowing the numbers of your server. This is concerning, but also exciting at the same time, if that makes any sense. As I said, I put some work into this, and it looks like a lot of fun from the outside. It's just, will it work the way it's intended, knowing AGS? And that's all I wanted to leave in today's video, all I wanted to include and talk about, and let that, you know, thought sit. And we're going to make some more videos breaking down some stuff in this blog post, as I think there's some more information I can make in dedicated videos. But I just want to quickly say, you know, be open-minded, try it, and if it doesn't sit well, just go back to your standard character. I really just don't think it's going to be a long-term thing. And that's all I want to talk about today, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.